It's been exactly 300 days, 9 months and 27 days since Russia invaded Ukraine. The war has thrown the world into chaos and uncertainty. Where is the Ukrainian president? Is he giving his usual speeches, addressing global conferences, perhaps posing for more fashion magazines? Well, he's currently in the United States. Zelensky has been pleading for global aid. There's not a single world platform he hasn't addressed. He has sought assistance and called out Russia for its invasion. So much so that he's also waged a public relations war against Russia's Putin. The optics of the former actor, comedian and now war-embattled president have certainly been hard to compete with. So tonight, Zelensky is in the United States. This is his first trip outside his country since the war began. Zelensky's visit draws echoes of British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, his arrival in Washington 81 years ago. Days after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Churchill made the visit on December 22nd back in 1941. And Zelensky's is on December 21st. Churchill's visit cemented the alliance that won World War II and built the post-war democratic world. Earlier, Zelensky even compared Ukraine's fight against Russia to Britain's lone defiance of the Nazis before US entered the war. Tonight, he's meeting the US President Joe Biden and is addressing a joint session of the Congress. So what exactly is the purpose of Zelensky's visit to the US now? You see, US lawmakers are due to vote on a year-end spending package. It includes about $45 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine and NATO allies. This latest tranche of funding would be the biggest US aid to Ukraine yet, even above Joe Biden's $37 billion emergency aid request. Biden is also likely to announce an additional $1.8 billion security assistance to Ukraine. This also includes the coveted Patriot missile systems. With this, Washington says it is going in for the long haul to support Kyiv. But for how long can it do so? Some, especially Republicans, are questioning the price of the war. Republicans set to take over the House majority in the new year, adding to the list of challenges for Joe Biden. The US taxpayers are now facing high inflation, and Biden is staring at, of course, the presidential elections in 2024. So is all hunky-dory between Biden and Zelensky as of now? Remember the time when Biden lost his cool while on the phone with Zelensky back in June? The Ukrainian president reportedly asked for more military aid. Joe Biden reportedly lost his temper, raised his voice and said, "Show a little more gratitude." That statement sums up the relationship between the two. The US has been the largest donor of military aid to Ukraine. It has provided arms and equipment worth some $18.51 billion. That is at least 9 times more than the second highest donor, Germany. Experts say increasing US aid will bolster Washington's role as the arsenal of democracy in the war. I ask again, for how long can this continue? The West is struggling to supply weapons to Ukraine. Kyiv's appetite for weapons has severely strained Western stockpiles, which in turn has put the West in a dilemma. Whether to supply Ukraine with the weapons it demands or to replenish the US and NATO's emptied stockpiles. NATO officials say the amount of artillery being used is staggering. Let me draw a comparison to explain this better. In Afghanistan, NATO forces fired around 300 artillery rounds a day. Along with air defense, in Ukraine, thousands of rounds are fired daily, and it remains desperate for air defense against Russian missiles. And now, even Iranian-made drones. By comparison, the US produces only 15,000 rounds each month. Russia, on the other hand, has been able to produce a large number of missiles by mobilizing defense companies. It has also been acquiring missiles and drones from Iran. Some experts say Russia's ability of sustaining the war seems greater than the West's ability to continue to support Ukraine. Now coming back to Zelensky's Washington visit, the visit certainly risks further provoking Vladimir Putin. It comes at a time when the Russian president has already signaled that he is in for the long haul. Betting the West's commitment will eventually fade. Will it? So what exactly is the West trying to do now? It wants to help Ukraine, but cannot afford to directly get involved in the war. Don't forget, Kyiv has applied for a NATO membership, but for the alliance members, it has become a topic they don't want to address or touch. Most of them have a memorized robotic response. They talk about the open door policy, but without any concrete response. In reality, NATO is fractured over how and when Ukraine should join, if at all. A NATO membership for Ukraine would also mean members being legally bound to come to Ukraine's aid in case of an attack. And that's a prospect many still cannot afford. So are the United States and its allies trying to give Ukraine NATO-level protection to Ukraine without the actual status? And is this something that Zelensky is ready to accept? We'll have to wait to find out. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.